The trouble is because we don't value ourselves, we don't know who we are so limited in our capacity to give whatever it takes to love that other person, or to be there for that other person, or to be ourselves. And I was reminded of this watching, I think it was Sherlock Holmes, I'm trying to remember which show it was. It was Sherlock Holmes, the new British one where they're in Britain, and he would be a hard person to love, I think, right? You'd have to look for that lotus flower. But I was watching Sherlock Holmes, and in it was this story, and there was this girl, and she was in foster care, and she was a runaway, and she'd been in a lot of trouble in her life. She had a child, an illegitimate child that she was trying to care for by herself. And then, of course, guess what happens? The bad guys come and try to kill her. So Sherlock Holmes gets involved, right? So anyway, she's being pursued, but she doesn't know why she's being pursued. And she's fighting them off, and eventually they try and steal the baby, and she has no clue what's going on. But Sherlock Holmes, of course, figures it out. And what he figures out is she was actually a princess. Her father was a king somewhere, I can't remember the nation, a king somewhere, and that meant that even her illegitimate child was the heir to the throne. And this completely changed her reality. And I remember this one point in the movie, she kind of looks up and she goes, I'm a princess? And her whole conception of who she was changed. In that moment, her whole reality. Because suddenly she realized who she was. Who she was that had so much value, it could change everything about her and the way she related and behaved to everyone else. We have to do the same. We are sons and daughters of God. We are princes and princesses. If we understood who we are, we could be so much more generous. You know, why can't you be generous in relationships? You have no self-esteem. You know, you have no sense of self. You have no sense of self-worth. But if you understand your self-worth, it's very easy to be generous. That is the importance of identity. And so we have to know who we are. So one thing I want to ask you to think about this week, just pray. You know, we talked about the mysteries of God. Pray and ask God to share with you your value, who you are. Because if you know who you are, you have that inside of yourself, no matter what happens. Terrible things happen. Lots of terrible things have happened to me in my life, believe me. I'll share about it later with you. But if you know who you are, you can stand, right? So you have to see from God's point of view. You have to know who you are. And you have to respect the right order in relationships. And this is one huge problem that actually disrupts peace in the world, because people want to falsely dominate other people. Have you ever been in a relationship where someone tried to falsely dominate you? It's terrible. And we try to do that all the time. We try to do it in personal relationships. We do it on the level of a nation. We do it on the level of the world. Think about countries like America that could give so much to the world, but many times we go around the world dominating falsely. But is that our original nature? No, our original nature is that we respect people in the relationships we have. There's an order to our relationships. But because that has become corrupted, it's very difficult. I want to tell you a story that I encountered the other day. I was reading a sermon by Reverend Moon, and he was talking about, you know, even though he became a world leader, in 1952 or something, or 53, he was a refugee. Now, I don't know if any of you have family members, maybe, or, you know, back in your families, who've been refugees. But being a refugee is a really difficult, terrible thing. And when he fled North Korea to escape the North Korean army that was coming down, the Chinese army, he landed up in Busan, which is on the tip of South Korea. And he was trying to think about, you know, he was thinking about peace. He was thinking about world peace and how do we establish peace. And he was praying to God and trying to understand these things. And he said, I used to go up onto this place on the hill above the harbor sometimes, because he worked during the nights in the docks, and look out over the ocean, and he'd see hundreds of ships coming into the harbor, and he'd count them. One day there would be 45, one day there would be 100 ships, and he'd think where are all these ships coming from? And he realized they're American ships, they're United Nations ships. So he began to ask, what is the United Nations? Just because people around the world, in our environment, in our community, are hard to get along with, doesn't mean that we have to be hard to get along with too. So you might find people at work, they're very hard to get along with, or people at school, right? Or people in your family, very hard to get along with. But does that give you the right to be hard to get along with too? Actually, we have to multiply goodness. If we multiply goodness in our environment, right, then we can create peace. Instead of paying them back, harm for harm, if you like, we have to be able to give them a blessing. And I want to read something from 2 Peter chapter 3. It says, "Finally, all of you should be of one mind. Sympathize with each other." What if we sympathize with each other? Love each other as brothers and sisters. Be tender-hearted and keep a humble attitude. Don't repay evil for evil. Don't retaliate with insults when people insult you. That's hard to do. I gotta say, if someone says something negative about you, for you to come back with something positive, that's hard. But when you do that, you're pursuing your original nature. You're developing your original nature. Instead, pay them back with a blessing. This is what God has called you to do, and He will grant you His blessing. For the scriptures say, if you want to enjoy life and see many happy days, keep your tongue from speaking evil. I put a challenge out to you this week. See if you can keep your tongue from speaking evil. Means like, don't say something negative about the next person. Say something positive. Contribute something positive in the environment. That's right, like the duct tape, That's the duct tape methodology. You really need that.
It fixes everything.
I know it does. Duct tape does fix everything. Keep your tongue from speaking evil and your lips from telling lies. Turn away from evil and do good. Search for peace and work to maintain it. And I think out of all of that, that's probably the most important line. Because search for peace and work to maintain it. Like, peace doesn't just naturally come. You have to work hard to build peace. But actually, it's who we are as sons and daughters of God. That's our identity. That's our original nature. So reject everything else that doesn't fit. Because you deserve to have your original nature, right? We have to do more than pray for peace. Lots of people pray for peace. Think about all the rallies, all the prayer walks, everything. There's a lot of people praying for peace. But we have to pursue it with every inch of our being. I want to just give you a quote from Hebrews. It says, "Look after each other so that none of you fails to receive the grace of God." Is it peace if you have the grace of God and then your neighbor doesn't? You have the grace of God but your children don't? You have the grace of God but none of your friends do? That's not peace. Watch out so that no poisonous root of bitterness grows up to trouble you, corrupting many. This is why we have to multiply goodness. Because it's too easy to multiply other stuff. Don't allow yourself to multiply other stuff. But think about how you can multiply goodness in your life, right? We can be moved by words, and I hope that some of the words that I shared with you this morning moved your heart. You can also read this on our website. We put it up on Tuesday. You can reread some of those words, and maybe it can speak to you. But what's better, reading words or having somebody in your life who's actually living it? That's incredibly powerful. So each one of us has the opportunity to be that person, right? Religion shouldn't be about rituals. Although some of us, we love rituals, Rituals are good. But religion shouldn't be about rituals. It should really be about a lifestyle, right? Reverend Moon challenged people. He would go, talk about the Messiah. Why don't you be a Messiah? Because if you're living it, in one sense, you are a Messiah. You could be a family Messiah. Or you could be a tribal Messiah, a community Messiah. That's our challenge, because that's the best way to influence people. It's not to give long speeches. I'm sorry about this morning. Just put myself out. But actually it's to live it, because that's what's impacting and impactful in people's lives. So I want to encourage you this week to think about, to fulfill to create peace in your life, you need a foundation of faith. You need to be rooted in God. You need to be at peace with yourself. But you also need what we call a foundation of substance in a relationship. You have to substantially love someone else. You have to be like Jacob and Esau, we talked about last week. You know, Jacob went to Esau, who was like the big bad brother, and said, when I see you, I see the face of God. How could he do that? Because he was living according to his original nature. He said, he was seeing him from God's point of view. You have to know who you are as a son or daughter of God. That way you don't get easily threatened. You know, so often we react in relationships because we're threatened, our identity is threatened, our standing's threatened, we don't feel appreciated. But if you know who you are, you don't even have to worry about that. We need to respect the right order of relationships. But love is spherical. In other words, there are relationships that are above, you know, you have like parents above you or grandparents, you have sons and daughters below you, have friends beside of you, you have people in front of you, leaders in your community, you have people behind you, people that are following you. Love is spherical, it's all around us. And when we understand the right order in relationships, we can create peace, because we respect each other, right? And finally, we can do that really, 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 really difficult thing. You can multiply goodness wherever you go. So this week, think about your life, think about what you leave behind you. Like each one of us has the potential to leave a trail of goodness wherever we walk. I want people to be able to say when they meet you and I at work or at school, like, wow, like, he's always so nice. How come he's like that? Or she's always so caring. How come she's like that? These are the people. According to your original nature, you have the power to create peace. So I want to encourage you this week, and during our prayer time, you can reflect on these points and think about them, and think about what you can do to create peace wherever you go. Please join me in prayer.